My apologies for the late start. We unfortunately had a massive distributed denial of service attack against our servers, and saturated all of our data lines. Like basically hundreds of gigabits of data were saturated. We think we've overcome most of that, and it's now time to proceed. But as this massive attack illustrates, there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say, and I'm honored to have this conversation. I want to emphasize it's a conversation, um, and it's really intended to just get a feel for what Donald Trump is just like in a conversation. It's hard to catch a vibe about someone if you just don't hear them talk in a normal way. And when there's an adversarial interview, like no one's themselves in an adversarial interview. Um, and this is really aimed at kind of open-minded, independent voters who just trying to make up their mind. Uh, and so you can understand like what is what is it just like to have a conversation. So um, honored Donald, great uh, to speak. We had a great conversation yesterday. As you mentioned yesterday, if we could just record that conversation and post it, it would have been excellent. And I hope we can have something like that today.
Well, I think we will. I'm pretty sure we will. And congratulations, because I see you broke every record in the book with so many millions of people, and it's an honor. We view that as an honor. And then you do want silencing of certain voices. Usually, those are voices that have something to say that are constructive, oftentimes constructive. And
Yeah.
so we have to consider it an honor. But congratulations on breaking every record in the book tonight. That's great.
Well, thank you. Um, I mean, maybe we could start off with, the assassination attempt, which was an incredible thing. And I have to say that, your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. Um, you, instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, um, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying, fight, fight, fight. And I think that's, I mean, the president of the United States represents America, and I think that is America. That is strength under fire, and so that's a big a part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as the president of the United States for having another term here. Is that was just incredibly inspiring. But I mean, what was it like for you?
Not pleasant, I have to
Not
be honest.
pleasant.
I said there
Yeah.
was blood. I had
Being
more
shot is
blood.
not
I didn't
much
know
fun.
I didn't know I had that much blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place if you're going to get hit. But in this case, it was probably the best alternative you could even think about because it went at the right angle, and it was a hard hit. It was very, uh, I moved down pretty nicely, pretty quickly, and we had bullets flying right over my head after I went down. So I'm glad I went down. The bigger miracle was that I was looking in the exact direction of the shooter, and so it hit and all because I put down a chart on immigration that showed that the numbers were so great. I love that chart
I
even
mean,
more
maybe it's
now
a
that I
sign.
open it.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's a
it's
sign.
it's an immigration sign.
You
But
highlighted a serious issue, and
yeah,
at that moment, the
that's
the, the,
right.
the bullet missed hit your ear, but missed your head. I mean,
Well,
you know,
the
yeah,
amazing thing is that the sign, I said, bring down that sign on immigration. And such a sad situation. As you know, we lost somebody that was great, Corey,
yeah,
who, a firefighter, a great gentleman, a great trumper. He was just a fantastic family and a fantastic man. And a friend of mine came up, Elon, and said, I'd like to give the family some kind of help. And I said, "All right, that's great." He said, "Do you mind?" I said, "I don't mind at all." And he wrote out a check for $1 million, gave it to the wife. She said, "This is really nice, but I'd rather have my husband back," which is a nice thing for
sure.
somebody to say, to be honest. She's great. The family is great. and we raised a lot of
Yeah.
money for them and for two other gentlemen were are unbelievable people. Also, they were hit really badly. They thought they were not going to make it, and they did. The doctors in the Butler area, I tell you, they were incredible. They saved the two, and they were really hit tough, both of them
Yeah.
equally. And we thought
Yeah.
my first question was because I heard bullets flying over me. I said, "How many people were killed?" Because we had a massive crowd there, a tremendous
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of people, and there was no land. I mean, it was all people. So I said, "How many people have been killed?" Because I knew there were other shots being fired,
Sure.
and they said, "We don't know yet, but some people have been badly hurt." I have to give the Secret Service sniper, they call him, or sharpshooter, but sniper,
Yeah.
because he didn't know there was a problem. He's an extraordinary shot, obviously, and he didn't know there was a problem, and he was
Yeah.
able to pick it all out within 5 seconds. And he used one bullet from very far away, I guess probably about 400 yards. The shooter was 130, but
Yeah.
he was on the opposite side of the field and the podium. The smoke and the flame from the gun immediately recognized it and immediately took a shot. And it was one perfect shot from very far away. And all of a sudden he has to act. And it's a very tough thing to
Sure.
act and to be shooting somebody. It was, they say it was approximately 5 seconds from long range,
Yeah.
one bullet. If that didn't happen,
Yeah.
because the shooter had a lot of bullets, he had a lot of cartridges up
Sure.
there with him. So could
Well,
have been very,
I mean that's clearly he was very confident in taking that shot to stop the attempted assassination. I think most people people are wondering how on earth could such a thing happen.
well, I view it as two ways. There should have been nobody on the roof. There were people,
Yeah.
because there were so many tens of thousands of people there. There were people that were seeing him, and there was one woman with a red shirt,
Right.
Trump all over
I
it,
saw
and
the videos.
she's screaming, "That guy's got a gun!" You saw it probably.
I mean, how the heck are, you know, basically people wandering by pointing out there's a guy on the roof with a gun,
Yeah,
and they're seeing it, but somehow it's not being addressed. That does seem
yeah.
crazy.
Well, they're going to learn from this. The communication between the local police, who sort of had an idea, and then ultimately a man lifted himself up to the roof, could barely do it because he was pulling himself up. He fell down, and he did. From what I understand, he did say, "There's a guy up there with a gun." And the shooting started very quickly after that. I think it forced the shooter to go maybe quicker. You're supposed to be a very good shot.
Yeah,
My sons, Don and Eric, they can't believe what happened, but they said from 130 yards, a bad shot would hit that target almost every time. They said it's like in golf,
yeah,
sinking a 2 foot putt.
yeah. It's not a tough
No,
shot.
it's not a
Um,
long shot. The Secret Service person had the long shot. He had triple the
yeah,
distance actually. So it was a terrible thing. Look, uh, it's hard. I have to say this about the Secret Service. When I went down, when guns go off, and it does happen in stadiums at a soccer match or some kind of a match, everybody flees. They call it a stampede, like cattle. But everybody, and a lot of
yeah,
people get killed with those stampedes. We had
sure,
more people than you'd have at, some of these matches or these games, and it's almost like they wanted to be with me. Well, out front, you had thousands, tens of thousands of people. As far as the eye could see, you had people in Butler, and uh,
yeah,
and a lot of press too. There was many cameras on watching this. It's what makes it so different, because normally things happen that aren't good, but you never have a picture of it. Here we have all these cameras shooting it. He sort of missed. I mean, he uh,
yeah. But
he
as you
got
said,
me, but
he
it
would have
could have
hit.
been
I
it
mean,
could have been a much
yeah.
bigger problem.
Well, it was your I think your actions in the heat of fire, and like what I find admirable there was that you can't fake bravery under such circumstances. The courage is instinctual, or it is not. It's not a rehearsed action. And so I just want to say that I think a lot of people admire your courage under fire there. And
Well,
yeah, so
thank you very
yeah,
much. I appreciate it. I didn't think of it. I just wanted to get up and I wanted to stand up. I wanted to let people know, I felt I was good when they were on top of me, covering me, actually, very much covering me, and very bravely. But I wanted to get up. I said, I want to get up, and they wanted, they have everything there. They wanted stretcher. I didn't like the stretcher, and I knew I was hit in the ear, but I knew I wasn't hit anywhere else. They felt I was hit someplace else
yeah,
because it was such a lot of blood. Was I alive? You really couldn't tell when I stood up before the hand, before the fist in the air. Uh, they didn't know if I was alive. Nobody did. And when I put the fist up, they were just relieved and happy and thrilled, and the place went crazy. It was pretty
yeah.
amazing. It was a
Well,
terrible thing, but it
it
was
was
really nice.
incredibly moving. Yeah. Um, well, and I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got you to turn that saved your life, really, was the illegal immigration
Right,
slide. Maybe this,
that's right.
maybe this is worth talking about that,
It
since
was it was.
that slide
You're
saved your
right.
life,
No,
basically.
the illegal immigration saved my life. You're right, but I
I
had to
know
be at
that's
that
the.
exact angle.
I mean, that's a great one.
You had to be exactly at that angle. But the
Yeah,
incredible thing is that the chart, I used it less than 20% of the time. That normally you wouldn't use it. Normally I wouldn't have the thing, and then it would
yeah,
have been a very different story. It's very much, I say, an act of God. It's a miracle that it happened, and I'm
sure.
honored by it. I'm honored by it.
Well, what were you about to say about illegal immigration before you were rudely interrupted with a
Well, I was
bullet?
going to say how good the numbers were. By the way, we're going back to Butler, and we're going to go
Great.
back in October. We're all set up, and the people are fantastic in Butler. It's a great area. Great. These are incredible people.
Have no manners.
Elon, the chart was just a chart that in my last week we had the best illegal immigration numbers, meaning stopping. It was at the lowest. You've seen the chart. It's become quite a famous
Yeah,
chart,
yeah,
but that was the lowest
yeah.
point ever recorded. I'll be sleeping with that chart. That chart was very important for a lot of reasons.
Well, I mean,